Hello, surprise, no intro sequence. Caught you off guard there, I'm sure. I'm Yahtzee. Welcome to the Windbreakers podcast. I'm joined by Marty and Jay.
Hello, everyone.
Usual. Hello. And as not usual, I'm also joined by very choppy footage of Jesse Galena.
I don't know why I'm choppy.
You know what? You're choppy because you were filmed with a budget of $25 million, mostly on Eastern European sound stages.
Oh, well, now we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because I need to set this up.
Yes.
A few weeks back, Marty went to see Return to Silent Hill, the movie which Wikipedia states is loosely based on the video game Silent Hill 2. And you went to see it in theaters, didn't you, Marty?
I did. I watched this movie twice. I saw it in theaters. I talked about it a little bit on the Rewind, and then I watched it again on VOD over the weekend.
Yes, you said right after you watched it in theaters, you came to us and said, the moment this movie is on VOD, we have to watch it, and then we have to do a podcast on it.
Which I feel bad because, Yahtzee, you don't have a ton of free time, and you definitely do not spend that time watching movies, no matter how good they are. And so for like one of your few new movies possibly of the year, I kind of feel bad that it was this.
Well, happily, I'd already finished RE9 Friday afternoon, and which was when the VOD came out. So I just, I sat down, I took it seriously. I didn't even play something else in a different screen.
No.
I sat down on my couch and I watched it. I mean, I had my Steam Deck on hand just in case something made me cringe so hard I needed to distract myself. But in the end, my attention was completely drawn to the film for its entire run. I don't know what that says about it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Have you seen? Really quick, have you seen and has everyone seen the previous two Silent Hill movies, Silent Hill and Silent Hill Revelations?
I've seen the first one, and actually, I saw that in theaters.
Yeah,
but I haven't seen the other one that's based on Silent Hill 3 and has Jon Snow in it.
Sure, and this one is directed by the same man, Christoph Gans, who directed the first movie, and also the pretty good Brotherhood of the Wolf, which I don't know what happened to him.
And my understanding is that, as with most Silent Hill fans, he did Silent Hill 1 so he could get to doing Silent Hill 2, which is, the best one.
Yeah.
So, I would have
thought based on what I watched.
I just want to say up front that I want to avoid dwelling on the ways the film is different to the story in the games, because, I don't think anyone wanted a shot-for-shot remake. Not sure how you'd do that when adapting from video game to film, but the point is, it was an adaptation, so they were in their rights to change things, to do their own interpretation of the material. Having said that, what I don't get is why you would follow the game closely roughly 50% of the time, and then make up whatever bollocks you like for the other 50% of the time. I feel like you either want to appease the fans or piss them off. Pick a fucking lane.
Yeah, and the
could have.
Oh, go ahead, Jesse.
I think that could have worked if they stuck with a theme. Like if they had a theme that the game did, that they were like, we want to focus on this, and we'll do that by adding these new things to it, and thus we will have a cohesive theme throughout. Then that would have worked. It was amazing that they decided not to do that.
Well, that's absolutely something I wanted to get into. Because of course the theme of the original game, if you could summarize the theme of the original game in one word that's like hovers over the whole thing in big neon letters, and if you had to restrict it to one word, guilt. The theme is guilt.
Yeah.
And the problem with the film is that it goes out of its way to absolve the protagonist of guilt on multiple occasions. Shall we just do like a dry description of what happens in the plot?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, well, the movie opens with James Sunderland, Big Jimbo Sunderland, driving a convertible car, listening to rock music, wearing sunglasses, and just when you think they haven't quite finished setting up his character, he pulls out a big fat blunt and lights it up.
This is the first of, I believe, half a dozen scenes where he drives while impaired, and I'm like, James, you gotta stop doing this.
You're a criminal, dude.
You're not. This isn't good.
But this is because they're actually delving into the relationship between James and Mary before the events of the game. And so they're setting up a sort of meet cute where James accidentally runs over Mary's baggage and causes her to miss her bus. Now, in the film, Mary is a resident of Silent Hill, and James has shown up at Silent Hill because he's like a drifter or something. Like he's a drifting artist.
Yeah.
Who somehow makes a living from that.
Yeah, who has a gorgeous loft apartment, and he just has a convertible filled with his like art, his what's it called, easels? What are those like?
Yeah,
canvases and shit.
brushes
Yeah,
and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but he meets Mary as she's trying to escape from the town because, and this is something we learn later, is that Mary is tied in with the cult of Silent Hill. Like her father was like the big boss of the cult. I know people who played the game were already balking at this information, but stick with us, it gets better. And because the cult wants to feed Mary poison and make her bleed so they can lick up her blood, Mary is quite understandably trying to get the fuck out of Dodge. But the moment she runs into Big Jimbo and has their meet cute, suddenly she decides, oh, you know what? Now that I've met this hunky boy, things are looking up. I guess I'll go back to the evil town where the cult wants to drink my blood. And move in with my new boyfriend who will and try to avoid telling him about any of the blood business.
They lived in Silent Hill for a while, right? Like they had an apartment in Silent Hill?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're not sure how long they lived there. It can't have been for very long because they're not married. They're still boyfriend and girlfriend.
I know you don't want to... I know we don't want to be like, why did you change this?
Yeah.
Why did they change that?
But
why aren't they married?
Would you change them?
Like, why...
Well, the thing is that Mary, how it comes across is that James discovers fairly soon after moving in with Mary this whole cult business, because he meets the cult members and they're all really weird to him. He shows up at his apartment one day and they're all there doing a weird ritual. So he follows Mary and the occultists to a secret hideout in the town where he witnesses them doing the whole blood ritual thing, and that causes him to freak out and leave. So that's the setup as we understand it. And then in the continuity of the film, James is like hanging out, feeling very sorry for himself in his apartment, God knows where, getting thrown out of bars for starting punch-ups. When he gets the famous letter, he gets the letter from Mary.
Yeah, these are a lot of these are told like via flashbacks, kind of folded into the movie. Like it'll be like regular Silent Hill, spooky Silent Hill, flashback, and it kind of does that a couple times in the movie.
And at this point, there's no reference to Mary being sick. There's no reference to James thinking that she died of an illness. At this point, James thinks she's alive, and has just sent him a letter saying, "Hey, please come back. Things are getting fucked over here." And that's when he finally drives to Silent Hill, and we have the iconic opening with the lake view overlook looking remarkably similar to how it does in the game. Mm-hmm. Like one of the things it adheres closely to the game for some reason.
Yeah, it's and then to give the movie its flowers, there are, I don't know if this is giving a movie its flowers, there are a handful of moments that I'm like, that resembles the game. And
yeah,
I guess that's nice.
And I think
right?
I think it's occasionally got some really good imagery. Like I liked when they get to the hospital and all the beds are just like out in the parking lot. I liked that as an image.
There's things that like they did. Spoilers. There are some positive things to say about it. To your point, Marty and Yahtzee, that like there's some really good makeup design. There's some good like creature design. There's some good cinematography sprinkled throughout the rest of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of the CG is pretty bad.
Yeah,
and pretty obviously green screened. And so we get to he does the whole thing where he meets Angela in the cemetery by the water, and she's basically as she's in the game. He goes down to Silent Hill. Everything's deserted. Everything's foggy. There's this therapist character who calls him up.
Yeah, named M, where he is. I believe it's just M. And every time for the first half of the movie they show her, she's filmed through this weird, like kaleidoscopic, like almost like the camera's looking through like a crystal or something. And it's just, I was like,
I think it's under her glass desk.
Okay, yeah,
and it's my showing us this weird distorted version of her. And I've no
certainly
idea.
A choice.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess maybe it was like a poetic thing. They wanted to like reflect that when James is in contact with something outside Silent Hill, he sees it all through a weird filter, like he's on the other side of a lens. I don't know. Anyway, it turns out Silent Hill's all foggy and weird. And this is just to illustrate how awkwardly the new story stuff is crowbarred in. James starts the iconic introduction to the monster scene under the bridge, where he hears the radio for the first time. He finds the radio, it makes the funny noise. The monster isn't there yet, it's a homeless man. But then James looks to his left, he sees Heaven's Knight's bar and goes, "Oh, sorry, can we pause this monster introduction scene for a moment? I need to have a flashback." So he goes in there, there's this whole flashback establishing the cult and Mary and all of that shit. And then James goes back to the bridge, goes, "Sorry about that. Can we pick up where we left off?" And that's where we introduce the lying figure, the lying figure monster.
Yeah. Which looks pretty good. I mean, it just looks like the thing does in the game. Like there's decent, prosthetics and whatnot in the movie.
Well, how they do it is they just literally cut to a shot of the street, fully flat on, with the lying figure just sort of standing there in full view. And so there's no subtlety. I mean, the town isn't even particularly foggy.
Yeah.
There's no nuance. There's no subtext.
I mean, the lack of subtlety and subtext is prevalent throughout the movie, which is wild because this is a game that has, for 2001, may have had some of the most subtlety and subtext of any, big budget game at the time.
Well, that was one of my notes. One of my notes that I've written down here. Why must all the subtext be dragged kicking and screaming into the text? I mean, just to skip ahead a bit, we have Pyramid Head, of course. You run into Pyramid Head in the apartments, the way we do in the game. But the fact that Pyramid Head embodies James's frustration and darkness was never stated outright in the game. And in the film, there is a literal sequence where James draws a picture of himself and then draws a pyramid on top of the head.
Yeah.
Just to make it very clear.
And there's a shot
and
where
they've shown you his face underneath it twice.
Yeah. The camera zooms into the eye hole and shows you James's face in there. And then there's one point later on which seems insane to me where he pretty much summons Pyramid Head to kill Maria, which we're not there yet, but it's almost like a persona. Just by covering your ears and screaming, you can summon your persona.
So during the apartment sequence, Eddie shows up, and I just have one note pertaining to that simply says, "Why is Eddie in this film?"
Great question.
Because
he's in the game.
Yeah, he shows up, he does his thing, he throws up in the toilet, he has this weird sort of cultist rant thing for some reason, and then he just disappears from the film and is never seen again.
Which is really odd because, in my opinion, I think Eddie might be one of the most disturbing things in the game. Like the way he acts and the way you take him down later and stuff, it's all very disturbing, and you never really know where you are with him. Unlike some of the other NPCs, and to just do his introduction and just forget about him is just I don't get it.
And each of those people that James meets in Silent Hill aren't there because of James. They're kind of there on their own journeys. Angela's there because of her own trauma. Eddie's there because of his own trauma. And that is not the case here.
No, that is not the case here. I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh, I mean, there's so many things piled up that we need to go over.
You're doing great. I think walking through the plot is great before we start latching on individual things.
So many notes about the individual beats that it's like, not yet, hang on.
So James sort of oscillates between encounters madly for a while. He runs into Laura. Laura is quite different in the game. They sort of play her more like the straight, creepy monster kid that she kind of wasn't in the game.
Want to know a crazy Laura fun fact? She is played in this movie by the same child actor who plays her in Silent Hill 2 Remake, and she was not allowed to tell either party she was in the other one because she didn't want to break NDAs. So she was randomly... I mean, I don't know if this is like a lie, but the story is she auditioned for both parts and got both parts.
I mean, talk about typecasting.
Yeah.
That is mad.
Yeah. But he runs into Laura, he runs into Maria in the usual spot, and Maria really feels like she comes out of nowhere, like surprisingly late in the film. And they go to the hospital, skipping the whole Bowl-O-Rama sequence. because at this point, James has discovered, much as they did in the first Silent Hill movie, they sort of play it like a video game. They find clues that lead them to the next bit of the video game. So he finds a clue that leads him to the hospital, because he's suddenly aware that Mary spent some time there. And that's where there is a very weird sequence where James momentarily comes back to the real world, where he wakes up in like a normal hospital where everything's nice and his therapist is there. And the therapist says, James, Mary is dead. You are having some kind of weird experience where you're hallucinating stuff. After which, James goes into what I've written down in my notes as James's prolonged Kubrick stare moment, where he puts on a weird face and sort of consciously brings back evil dark Silent Hill, so he can reunite with Maria, who he left there, and says, "Hey, I've just realized you're not Mary, and this is fucked." And that's the point where he goes into the labyrinth and summons Pyramid Head, who kills Maria. And Maria, again, is just dropped unceremoniously from the film at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd have thought Maria was a pretty central and pretty vital thread running through the entirety of the game's plot. But yeah, let's just kick her out now.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we go to the hotel, which in the film is permanently on fire in a way that doesn't seem to bother James at all.
Yeah, they explain the reason there's ash and fog in the town is they said there was a forest fire that kept burning, although at some point the forest would stop being on fire, right? Like there would be no more forest to burn.
That was confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, I assumed that the cult is in the film to tie things back with the Silent Hill 1 movie, but in that movie, the ash was established as being the result of a Centralia-style mining fire, an underground coal fire.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they felt they needed to change that.
Yeah, it felt occasionally like they very much tried to make it a sequel to the first movie, but it almost feels like there were two drafts of a script, one where it's a sequel to the first movie and one where it's just a beat-for-beat adaptation of the game, and they kind of got, kneaded together.
Smushed.
Yeah. So James does his whole thing in the hotel. He finally finds Mary. Mary has turned into a giant butterfly monster, but he doesn't fight her. They don't really do the fights. He just like encounters the boss and then the boss goes away.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't really have fights. It's a film. It doesn't have the combat mechanics. Although I did notice that James has a habit of picking up melee items.
Yeah.
And they very specifically focus on him picking up melee weapons, and then he sort of loses them all.
I just really quick, because I don't want to get actually, you are allowed to film fights in movies. There are several movies that have fights filmed.
Yeah, I know, but they didn't. But I don't think that would work so well in like a psychological horror movie.
No, I think it'd be very funny if he gets to, when Laura locks him into the one room, if the guy is coming from the ceiling and there's like a 5-minute scene where he's just running around in circles waiting for the thing to attack him from above.
Yeah,
yeah, shotgun,
but then,
bang bang.
So as well as the big reveal that James killed Mary by smothering her. Although they sort of, in this story, James missed out on the entire illness. They just, Mary finally called him back to Silent Hill and she was sick and he missed the entire illness and she just goes, "Hey, I'm dying, just kill me now, please." And James goes, "All right." And this is one of the many ways they completely absolve James of guilt. Because like Mary asked for it.
Yeah. There's
and also, that's the whole point.
Yeah. And then and the other thing is that we are also revealed that Mary, brace yourself, listeners, has 2 middle names. And her full name is Mary Angela Laura Crane.
Fuck.
So the Angela and Laura we encountered in Silent Hill are also Mary. They are different versions of Mary from different times in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mary was molested by her evil cult leader dad.
Yeah.
Much as Angela was.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the very end, having realized all this, they sort of try to do every ending simultaneously, in that James drives into the lake with Mary's corpse, and then he wakes up again, and he's back at the start of the movie. retaining all the memories of everything he did in the movie, apparently, where he repeats his meet cute with Mary. And then instead of driving her back to town, he goes, hey, you know what? Let's just piss off. And they do. And they live happily ever after the end.
No dog ending.
No
dog
ending.
sadly.
Yeah, sadly, no dog
Real,
ending.
real missed opportunity there.
Yeah.
I waited through the credits and didn't fucking do it.
That would have been a really fun post-credit scene. That's a...
Yeah.
I feel like
so obvious.
I feel like that would have been like, okay, at least the movie ends on a fun little note. I would have walked away a little bit happier.
So while we're not going to object to the plot being different to the games, they have reworked the plot in a way that the plot makes no sense and is a hell of a lot less compelling.
Well, it makes no sense to... I could see if they were to take the kind of abstract and kind of difficult to understand on a first playthrough story of Silent Hill 2, I would understand if they were to condense it and change it to make it more understandable for general audiences. But they didn't do that. They kept all of the abstract aspects of the narrative, and then all of the bits that they've changed don't make this any clearer. And like, I was trying to watch it from a perspective of someone who didn't already understand the Silent Hill 2 narrative. And I was watching it and I was like, this makes no sense. You are just moving from environment to environment, meeting a new character who doesn't add anything, and then you move again. Like, if you don't understand any of the references, this movie's even worse. It's terrible.
Also, I was in referencing like subtext being dragged into the text. Angela literally being Mary undermines the nuance of the original, in that Angela's presence is to embody James's guilt for violence against women. But in the film, James hasn't really committed any violence against women except what they asked for, in that he murdered her. And the fact that he wasn't there... Well, look at this. Well, here's my thoughts. James, like, guilt is the theme of the game. James feels guilt for having killed his wife, but he also feels guilt at the fact that he killed her because he hated her. He felt hatred for her because he was stuck with her while she was ill. She became the bitter, ugly thing he no longer recognized. He was sexually frustrated. And all of that is what is embodied in the imagery of Silent Hill and the monsters. It's not just that James killed a woman. It's that James hated her as well.
Mm-hmm. They removed that. They removed the aspect of having to stay with his wife and develop those feelings of resentment. They just completely removed that, so everything in Silent Hill doesn't make any fucking sense.
It is.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they also took away the aspect of the reason why he doesn't remember. Because in the movie, he doesn't know that he killed Mary because she asked him to. It's something he has to remember along the way. But because he doesn't have that trauma and coming to grips of what he's done, the horrific things he's done, he has no reason to forget it.
Yeah.
And so it's very weird to see him discover a thing.
And Silent Hill is trying to kill him because he hates himself. That's the whole point of the game.
It's staggering how it just feels like this guy who has to be a fan of the games. He's devoted years of his life working on these two movies. It doesn't seem like he understands the game. Which, a first time through the game, I could see you kind of, missing some of the subtext, needing to go through it again. But if you're devoting years of your life to adapt this thing, you think you would at it very least understand. And it's not like theories of what the game's about. It is just what the game is about. And I agree with you. Yeah, it's like adaptation is adaptation. Like, you need to change things. I think including flashbacks to their actual relationship makes sense in a movie, because if you just never showed us their good times together, why would anyone watching the movie kind of be along for the ride for this? But we barely
got those good times. We just got cult plot.
Well, and there
which didn't add anything to the end of the movie.
That was also very confusing, because there's that scene where he sneaks in and he sees the ritual. And what are they doing to her? Because she says later it wasn't my blood, and like what are they supposed to be doing to her at that point? Do you?
Well, the inference. Well, the way I interpreted it was they keep giving her this drug that is the thing that makes her sick in the end, and I implied from the very confusing cinematography of the sequence is that the drug creates some kind of Ebola-like effect where all her blood leaks out of her pores. And that's why we see sort of blood leaking through her clothes as she's being carried through the crowd.
Okay.
That's kind of what I got. And the is that my blood is like her confusion and not knowing exactly what's going on. It's how I interpreted it, but it is not clear. I think that's valid to be confused over.
Yeah. But the point I wrote down in my notes is just what happened to the cult? I mean, after they just sort of drop out of the movie right after the blood ritual sequence.
It's like
And,
Eddie.
they're all established as characters.
Yep.
They've all got unique faces and looks and like names. And then none of that gets any payoff. They're just gone.
There's no conclusion. It's
Yeah. Which is
it's
a
like they
running
went through
theme
and there was
for
a
every
list.
character.
It's like they played the game and they, as talented movie makers, which they are, they just played the game and thought, oh, this section here we could very easily represent visually and would be a nice reference. And it felt like they went through and took every single reference they could easily make and just started with that and then filled the gaps between them with their own bollocks, like with the cult and everything like that. And it just feels so disjointed because of that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like you played the game in a language you didn't understand, and then we're like, well, I got the visuals, and so we'll be able to nail these visuals, and we know he's going to go from the overlook, and then he's going to hit the apartment buildings, the hospital, and the hotel.
Yeah.
But
Well,
without
he is French,
understanding
the director.
yeah. Shout out to all the French.
And as the chat points out, were we really expecting much from the dude who famously turned the protagonist of Silent Hill 1 into a woman because he didn't think it was realistic for a man to care for their daughter.
And also had Pyramid Head. And also had Pyramid Head in the movie. Who's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
Pyramid Head is James's, like you said, his psychosexual manifestation. Yeah. Like, and he's why would he be in that town otherwise? Although he is cool in that first movie. He rips a woman's skin off, and it's very cool looking.
Yeah, and the sexy nurses as well. I mean, the sexy nurses are like embody James's sexual frustration.
Yeah,
like the mannequin monsters.
Reference.
Yeah,
and the lying figure is in the first movie too. So.
That is true. Yeah, abstract daddies.
Yeah. Like the lying figure represents disease, which isn't really a theme in the original Silent Hill. Yeah. It's like the little girl is in hospital because she got horribly burned.
It also, I was somewhat offended that it uses the same piece of Bach's music, like Bach the composer, that is used in Seven and End of Evangelion. Because I'm like, you do not belong in a list with those movies. you don't get to speak this man's name.
You know what? Did you guys notice that at one point there's a shot of a theater and like a movie theater, and one of the names on the marquee is Jacob's Ladder?
Oh, I did miss that.
I know writers who use subtext.
Because at times this film feels like it more wants to be Jacob's Ladder than Silent Hill 2.
Yeah,
the way it's the weird disjointed flitting between realities.
Except Jacob's Ladder had consistent theming, so it worked for that one.
Yeah, that was a good film.
True.
Yeah, let's go watch that and come back and do a Jacob's Ladders breakdown.
That sounds nice. That sounds very nice. I have there's a theory, and I kind of like it, that every version of Silent Hill is canonical, whether it's the original, whether it's the remasters with new voice cast and Comic Sans, whether it's the novel, whether it's the pachinko machine, whether it's the remake, or whether it's this. There's the idea that like this is a purgatory of James's own creation, and that like him at the rest stop is the is resetting.
Well, I certainly felt like I was going through a purgatory watching this film. Hey,
but my thought is like, this would be if this is one of his loops, like, oh, this is this is one of those loops I'd want to just get the fuck out of immediately. Like, I don't want to be in this loop. Yeah. I'd rather be in the Comic Sans Silent Hill Ranch loop than this loop.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
This is my punishment, to be depicted by a bad actor.
Yeah. What look, do we think a Silent Hill 2 movie could work in the right hands? Like, it's not that this thing is unadaptable, right?
Yeah.
Well, as as I was saying, Jacob's Ladder is
Yeah.
basically Silent Hill 2, the film. Let's just watch that.
I think it's definitely possible. I think with the correct setup, like, so Jess has never played Silent Hill 2, and she made the huge mistake of joining me to watch it. And when things would happen, she was like, I don't mind spoilers. So I would try to explain when Mary first showed up, I was like, okay, so basically here's the story of James and Mary and why he's going here, just so you have context, because she wanted that context. But as it unfolded, they didn't touch any of those beats about his guilt and why these things exist. And she would be like, well, what is this representing? Like, what is this meant to be? And I'd be like, well, in the game, it represents this, but then the next thing shown would completely counter what I just said. And I think the idea of showing a man go through an evil demon world built around his own, like, manifestations of his own guilt, you could do visually. The game does it, right? Like, the game already tells that narrative, and the gameplay is just supplementary to that. So it's definitely possible. It's just, how do you condense that into a 2-hour period in a way that is understandable to general audiences? Because there's large distances in Silent Hill 2 between you getting relevant information, and it's usually delivered through text or like obscure NPCs talking, right? And that's hard to visualize in a movie, but I do think it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I think it would have to be condensed and chopped. Like, you cannot do all the themes, all the scenes, all the monsters, all the everything that Silent Hill 2 goes through in a movie. You would have to say, what is the main point that we want to drive home? You focus only on that, and then that is the story of the movie. I think could be adapted. Yeah, that could work really well.
The main point is we want Eddie in one scene and one scene alone, and then he's gone from the movie.
Yes.
What the fuck?
We need him barfing in the tub with a terrible wig, and then he leaves.
Yes. I mean, we were saying before the call, we might have appreciated a scene where we shot him multiple times in a meat locker.
We didn't even get him eating pizza in a bowling alley. I think it's because they couldn't afford pizza or a bowling alley.
Or melted ice cream in a cinema.
Or melted ice cream at the cinema.
Or anything. We got like more time with the therapist that is not present in the original material than we did with most of the NPCs, which are able to deliver relevant information to James's psyche.
Half of the therapist's
baffling.
job. Half of the therapist's job was just in that one scene in the hospital where she explains to a nurse standing next to her while looking right down the camera lens the entire plot for the audience who haven't quite caught up yet.
Is it? I'm very confused. So the therapist at one point says she calls someone else when she realizes James is in Silent Hill. And she said, I wish I would have written it down because I don't remember the exact phrase. But she says something like he broke containment or he broke protocol or something.
Yes, he broke.
One of my patients has broken protocol.
Yeah.
What is that like? I'm trying to give it a gracious reading. Like, what did that mean? So, like, after James smothers Mary, is it assumed he went into some kind of fugue state or something where he needed to be, hospitalized for a long time? And we see him in the hospital. We see a lot of doctors looking over him. There's one shot where he looks out the window and he sees like a couple walking, and he kind of leers at the woman, which is like the one moment of like, oh, this dude might be a little bit sexually frustrated that the movie leans into.
That's the beginning of the Kubrick stare sequence.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I think it was like there was he had a psychologist, and then he would repeatedly, I'm assuming, try to go back to Silent Hill, the real place, because he was having these episodes, and it was part of his like mandate. You do not do this. Like, if you do, we're gonna hospitalize you. And he calls her saying, "I've gone to Silent Hill." She's like, "For fuck's sake, motherfucker's broken protocol."
But a couple of confusing points. When James wakes up in the hospital with the therapist, she says he's in the hospital in Silent Hill. So there is a nice version of Silent Hill still, and somehow James got back there. I guess maybe they drugged him up, and that's why he's back in nice Silent Hill.
Or maybe it's a dream. It's not clear, and also none of it really makes sense.
I've got a few last nitpicks to like finish us off with.
Let's hear.
I'm hung up on the question of why Mary starts off wanting to run away from Silent Hill, but never goes back to wanting to run away from Silent Hill. I mean, when James confronts her with the suitcase and says, "Pack your things, we need to get the fuck out of here. That cult is trying to drink your blood." She just goes, "No, I don't want to leave now.
Oh,
They're my family. They're all I have."
I could kind of understand. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jermaine.
No, my thing is the very beginning of the movie. I was already annoyed, and I was trying to give it like grace, but James, while smoking a blunt, like slams into her luggage, and he gets out, apologizes, and they're trying to pack it up. The bus comes, and she's like, "No, stop! The bus is already pulling in," and I'm like, "Well, first of all, that's irrelevant, you twat." He like stumbles, and her stuff falls out again, and she just goes, "Ah, fuck it." The bus is stopped waiting for you. You just go, "Sorry, dude, my stuff's broken," right? Like,
it would take seconds
she just
to get out of the bus.
Resigns herself to it. It would take seconds, and I'm just like, this is dumb. You could have the bus go past because she couldn't stop it. You kind of filmed part of that, but didn't do it. It's so dumb.
I guess she assumes this intracity Greyhound bus will only stop for like 3 seconds at any given place where it has to pick up.
It's been 4 seconds. It's been too long.
Yeah.
It's so
I assume you've got a busy schedule. You better hurry on. We don't have time to like pile some clothes into a suitcase and chuck it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that also, I made a note of that too. It drove me absolutely up a wall. That she was like, "Wait, bus." Oh, never mind, I guess.
Yeah.
Opening moments. I was like, okay, there's no logic here.
But then,
that's a problem.
Why,
go ahead.
But then why doesn't she want to leave when James wants to leave later?
Exactly.
When she already wanted to leave, when she already decided by herself that she wanted to leave. And why does she want to go back with James at the start when she's trying to run away from a blood cult?
I can't do the why she decides to go back, but like there is a familiarity in dealing with trauma when like if you get pulled back into it and someone is like, you need to leave, even if you've already tried to get out of it, that like that familiarity has a level of, or that even all of that pain has a level of familiarity, and even breaking that can be very hard, even if you've done it once before.
I completely agree with you, but they never show us any of that. They never show.
Oh, no, they don't.
They never show us like Mary's struggle of like, I know this is terrible for me, but it's all I know and it's all I have, and this is like, she says they're my family, and he's like, why were there 20 weirdos in our living room?
Yeah, that's real world understanding of like how certain things work, put onto a movie that didn't explain any of it and like did a terrible job.
And I forget the dialogue that explains it. It sort of glosses over pretty fast. But at the start, I'm not sure why was James going to Silent Hill in the first place. I think he was just drifting.
I think he was just driving by. Yeah,
he was just high. He was just high, and he thought he was going home. And he's like, "Shit, how did I know this town?"
Took a left.
But then when Mary says she's leaving town, why is going to Silent Hill more important to James at that point than just taking this lady wherever she wants to go?
Yeah, considering he is the reason. That's what, how the movie ends with, like I get another chance, and instead of going to Silent Hill, we'll turn around and skid out of the rest stop in an incredibly dangerous manner. The last shot of the movie is him pulling a U-turn, and the car fishtails several times.
He's like burning fucking tire. Yeah, like, it's mad.
Right at a cliff. They're in a mountain road.
I actually kind of appreciated that when he burns rubber into the rest stop, when he's like avoiding the truck, the car sort of ends up at the angle it's in at the start of the game.
Yeah.
When he like drives into the rest stop.
I will say this. The first time I saw that rest stop, I was like, okay, like they paid a lot of attention to making it look correct, even down to like the signs when he comes back. Like it was really, really well done. And even though even though the movie looks kind of jank in terms of like clearly their CGI budget wasn't massive, I do really appreciate how they tried to represent a lot of the environments. Because Jess was looking up Pyramid Head, because we were talking about Pyramid Head, and she was looking up when he appears in the game and like what he represents and stuff. And then it got to that scene with Eddie, and the first time you see Pyramid Head behind the bars in the movie. And Jess was like, oh, that looks like exactly like it does in the game. And it does. It's like, it's really well replicated. But then Pyramid Head in the game stands there and stares at you, and it's extremely menacing, just like very quiet, and it's intimidating as hell. And as soon as he appeared in my head in the movie, I was like, he's going to bust through those bars, man. He's going to rip through those bars. And he does. And it's like, okay, so you don't understand any kind of nuance.
No. It was part of the larger pattern of removing all subtlety, much as the first film did. Just
the environment,
everything's
cool.
Yeah, like everything's fully visible. There's no like shadows hiding like details, which Jacob's Ladder did really well. There's no quick glimpses of monsters that you can't even be sure what you saw.
Even with the monsters, like they're first introducing the mannequins, and I'm like, oh cool, we're gonna get introduced to, I call them just legs, like the mannequins that are just legs. And I was like, cool, they're really creepy. And I was excited for Jess to see that. But then it like anamorphs into a giant spider. And I'm
I
like,
forgot all about that.
Yeah, the big spider.
Where did the fucking giant spider come from?
I think it's because they wanted to keep
up.
The caked up spider. They wanted to keep the iconography of Pyramid Head's sexual assault,
female.
But because they make it so obvious that it's James, and because heaven forbid James be a bad guy, they refuse to like show. So it's kind of just like Pyramid Head beating up a big spider, and it just looks like Kong versus Godzilla at that point. You're like, okay, well, I guess
I expected him to like rip its jaw open.
Yeah.
See, this is, as we said, this is the whole problem. The only thing James should feel guilty about is the fact that he killed his wife, even though she was asking for it. When in like the game, there's like a whole slew of things he needs to be feeling guilty about.
Mm-hmm. And they could have shown that stuff. We have flashbacks, but they wasted time on cult stuff rather than showing the stuff he should actually be, that's connected to the subtext of the rest of the movie.
And there's small changes that I just cannot wrap my head around. Like Maria is the one who says, I know what you're thinking. I look like her, and I bet you wouldn't guess my name. It's Mary with an I and an A at the end. And I'm like, why isn't he the one to be like, you look just like her? And her being like, huh?
Yeah. And she feels, because I think that's partly because Maria's like role in the film is reduced so much. Like
she didn't even get to be one of the middle names.
I know, she comes and goes. She comes and goes so fast.
She didn't get to be the third middle name on the tombstone, which is a bummer.
And the whole concept of Maria being sort of an idealized version of Mary that is killed over and over again to remind James of what he did. That again, that's sort of massively undermined by how weak sourced the actual killing of Mary was in retrospect.
And the two of them never go to the bar, right? They don't have that.
No.
Like the two of them are never in the club. Yeah.
That's why I was so confused when it showed up, because I was like, this is extremely early. Like, we don't have the relevant characters to have the moment in this like environment. Why are we showing this? Not only because it interrupted the introduction of the monster and the radio and the pipe, but it was just like, this isn't the right time for it to happen. And I was like, are we not going to go to the apartment building? And then we went there afterwards, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, it's so linear to the game in some parts, and then completely all over the place in others. It's so
like I said, half for fans, half for me. That's been the attitude.
Before we do, what other did you guys have any other notes? Jesse, you said you wrote down a bunch of notes. Jay, any like just quick talking points you wanted to touch on before the chitties?
Yeah, I think, have y'all, there's so many notes, but there's one specifically that about the changes that I feel like they could have done really well. The Mary being everybody that we have already spoiled. So that if that was, and this plays into what we've been talking about as they don't know what they're doing with subtlety, with tying a story together, that could have worked if everybody was Mary. But having like Eddie and the homeless person, and even Pyramid Head, who have no reason to be there. Pyramid Head also literally has no reason to be there. He does not change the story. Like, if everything really was Mary, that would be a cool way to adapt that. If any of you have seen the film Men, they do that where, aside from one person in the film, every man in the film is played by the same person, and it is a integral part of the story of that matters.
Yeah, but that movie was trying to say something.
Yes.
Right.
And Silent Hill would have had to have said something in only for that to work.
You have to develop vocabulary to be able to say something.
Right.
Yeah.
The weird thing is
so hard.
The weird thing is, I just realized another thing. Why did they recreate the elevator scene in the hospital with James and Maria struggling to get in the elevator? James mashing the button of the elevator when he has no real reason to assume the elevator will work.
Yeah.
And they recreate it, but instead of Pyramid Head impaling Maria, it's just a nurse that comes up and stabs her, and it's not even a lethal stab.
Yeah.
And then later on, Pyramid Head does impale Maria in a completely different context.
Yeah, when
they also make the nurses look so pathetic because once he can't push the button, he just kind of runs out and just beats up a bunch of them.
they just made a porcelain, they just shatter.
Yeah.
Well, he's a big buff artist.
That's true.
Oh yeah, true. Pick up those paintbrushes.
Another thing that gets me on the movie. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. You finish yours, and then I got mine.
Okay. My thing was that the biggest problem I had with this is every single thing we have mentioned, and every single problem I had with this movie, aside from the CGI didn't look great, is it was a problem at script level. Like, these are all things that should have been addressed in editing, in critiquing, in just getting a thing together. Is someone going, hey, dude, Mr. Gaines, you've got way too much shit happening and none of it makes sense. Here's how you could trim it, or you need to pick a theme and go with it. And either nobody did that, or someone did do that and he went, nah, it'll be fine. I made a great story. And it's just baffling that there are so many things that are so bad at the literal foundation of it that could have been good.
Yeah. My last one is every environment in this movie looks dirty clean, like a spook house. Like, do you know when...
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, like
fake dirty?
Yeah, like, do you know when you go to, like, a haunted house attraction and they've tried to make things look like it's covered in dirt and blood, but when the lights are on, it looks sterile, like, it looks like paint, and it looks like... like
dirty clean.
It looks dirty.
I like that. I like that. Yeah. That's great.
Reminds me of Day for Night as a concept.
It was, just like Day for Night. It was the specific scene with Eddie when he was vomiting, and I was like, man, this is a set, and it is painted. This was painted to look this way. None of it looked organic. And like I said, a lot of the movie kind of looks ass, but I don't care because it's trying to visualize the world, and I think it does a good job of that a lot of the time. Just, if only the script could have gone into as much effort.
Yeah.
I feel bad about the main actress because she has to play all three of those characters. Hannah Emily Anderson. She has to play.
They got paid well.
Yeah, Mary, Maria, and Angela.
I didn't pick up on that she was playing Angela.
Yeah, that one looks really different. That's pretty impressive. I didn't pick up the first time. I had to come home and I looked on Wikipedia. And
I pick up on Angela's very obvious wig.
A lot of bad wigs. Also,
very obvious, very bad wig.
But not the worst piece of fake hair, because that goes to James's depression beard, which is just which is like, oh no, I'm going to a Halloween party in an hour and I didn't have a costume. Yeah. What's the last thing available in the Walgreens Halloween section on November 1st?
No, I've met people whose grown out beards look like fake beards. I think Peter Dinklage has that problem.
By the end of Game of Thrones, he's got fake beards.
It's like they're so thick that you can't see any part of their face anymore. So it just looks like it's been stuck on.
Yeah,
it looks pretty well groomed, pretty well trimmed as a beard.
Yeah, for a guy who's supposed to be who grew a depression beard, he's taking a lot of care of his depression.
Hey,
beard.
People deal with depression in different ways. Maybe he just obsessively trims his beard every day.
I'm an artist. This is my canvas.
I'm hyper focused on looking like Captain Haddock.
Yeah. Where do my last question before we go to super chats? Where for those of us who've seen a lot of video game movies, how bad is this? Is this the worst? I think to me this is the biggest chasm between quality of game and quality of movie. Because there's been like Blood Rain and shit like that where it's like, I don't really care about Blood Rain, or like most Uwe Boll movies. Like, I don't care about
We've been
these
spoiled in recent years, I think, is the issue. Like Mario movie. And
even if it's not great, it's still fine. Yeah.
This definitely feels like something that came more out of the second wave of video game movies and the whole Tomb Raider Resident Evil period than it did the modern wave of video game movies.
Yeah, it still does kind of feel like a relic of the early aughts as opposed to now where it's like, oh, Fallout and The Last of Us get, good creators behind it.
Yeah. Which, saying that, I mean, that was the first Silent Hill movie was what, 2006?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So I mean, if it feels like a relic of that, it's probably because it probably hasn't changed in this person's mind.
I mean,
Yeah.
as we established, Christoph Gans has obviously had this, in his back pocket for years. This was the thing he wanted to make.
For
Oh dear.
in terms of video game movies and where it ranks, I think this is pretty low. Only for the fact that I think this movie is weirdly better if you understand the material, because at least you can go, oh, I recognize that. Oh, they've replicated that really well. If you don't know anything, kind of like what Jess did, this movie's just shit. It doesn't tell a cohesive narrative, and you don't understand any of the environments you're in. It's just worse. So I think a video game movie should be able to onboard people, which I think they tried to do here, but just made it worse. Onboard people that have no idea what the source material is. And that comes to the question, what is a video game movie for? Is it for the fans? Or is it for people who don't know what it is to try and get them in? Like, kind of bad.
Sometimes it could be for no
well,
one, like this one.
It's the eternal debate, yes.
I've
director.
legitimately not heard a single person defend this movie, and not in like it is indefensible, but I just haven't come across, even for really bad things, at least people would be like, oh, I like bad movies, and I just haven't even the I like bad movies people are like, oh, this isn't fun bad, this is just bad.
Yeah, we should ask Jack. Let's ask Jack how he feels.
That's true.
Captain Contrarian,
king of the bad movies.
I think part of it is because it's the bad movies can be entertaining, where this just wasn't that entertaining.
Yeah, it's not. No, it was just confusing.
Yeah.
I think on the scale, it's definitely on the lower half of the bad movie. But as someone who has seen Postal and House of the Dead and Alone in the Dark and way too many video game movies, this is not the worst.
I would put it. I don't know. I think I'd put it alongside Alone in the Dark.
I think you are forgetting what that movie is. If you think.
Well, it has been a while.
Dr. Tara Reed, renowned
Dr.
researcher, Dr. Tara Reed.
Yes.
Or at least it's not like House of the Dead, where during one of the fight scenes they're like, we ran out of money, so we're just going to show footage of the arcade cabinet game.
Amazing.
Oh, that's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Yes. Raven's Weekly Word of the Week, week 39. Coercion. Granted, most people will know that word, but I'm trying to make the word relate to the video. Well played, Raven. We all know what coercion means.
We didn't like eyes wide shut yachts. He did it. He could have said no.
I was interested in having a discussion about it.
And it figures if there's a film adaptation of one of your favorite games, if not your favorite game of all time.
Well, no, quite.
Yeah.
Well, quite. Yeah. This is the same reason I played the gacha game, the Persona gacha game, because my feeling was, hey, if I'm going to like any gacha game, I'm going to like this one.
It would be this one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Sovereign46 gives €5 and says, bet the Bloober Team remake ain't looking so bad now, eh, Yard? Well, I never said it was bad. Sure. I mean, I think I said in my review, if you want my permission to like this game, then you have it. Actually, it's because Silent Hill 2 has been on my mind so much, having watched the movie, I've actually started a replay of the Bloober Team remake.
Oh, wow.
I stopped in the apartment buildings and thought, wow, this is taking way too long. And who knows if I'll go back at this point.
It does take a long time, but man, I really like the remake. I think it is solid.
I think it's too flabby. I think what it did is it took every section of the game and made them all individually about 3 times too long. Or 3 times longer.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure I like that.
I think some of the sections and some of the stuff that they added in that it's better because of it, and some of it I agree is like, but this was here because they just wanted to pad every section.
There'll be an occasional time where you're in like one of the dungeons and you were like, oh, there's another floor to this fucking apartment building I have to go to.
Yeah,
which is a terrible feeling to have. I don't like the camera change, and I don't like the added focus on combat. I think it takes a lot away from the game.
There you
go. BS Marsh, member for 24 months of the Green Gang, says, question, did Yahtzee lose a bet? It's called having a job. I watched the movie for homework because Marty thought it would make an interesting podcast, and didn't it? Here we all are. I was certainly
400 people watching.
I was certainly keen for this podcast. I was like practicing my thoughts all weekend.
There you go.
If we were, we may have boosted this movie's VOD numbers this weekend, like single by the 4 of us.
Oh yeah,
that's possible.
I'm sad I
Yeah.
gave those directors $20 because I
You could have
refused
rented
to
it for
spend
$10.
$10.
I rented it for $10.
No, I could have rented it for 10, but I'm like, okay, well, for an extra 10, I can own it. So, like, in 40
That's
years, I can sit down with my
That's a
niece and be
sunk
like,
cost
here,
fallacy.
Hold
Watch
the
this.
phone. Hold the phone. I rented it for $1.50 on
When
Amazon.
he told me
Hey.
that, I had to reiterate. I'm like, Yahtzee, are you sure you're watching the right movie from this year? And I'm like, you're a very smart man, but I was like, are you sure you didn't accidentally do Revelations or something? And no, sure enough.
Well, the original price was 10, and there was like a strike through it, and then it said 150. So I assume I had some kind of Prime benefit.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, I do keep getting emails saying, "Hey, you got unused Prime benefits," and I just delete them out of hand.
And it's only with Return to Silent Hill. They're just sending you emails about how you could have reduced costs on this one movie.
Anyway, Sonic the Hedgehog gives $2 and says, "Sucking a dummy. It's called a pacifier, Yahtzee," referencing my recent Summer Emblematic, and they are wrong because they are called dummies in England. They are only called pacifiers in dumb countries where they don't pronounce the H at the start of herb.
Herb.
Feel attacked.
Peter Parker SL then gives $5 and says, "Off topic, in dishonor of Scream 7, rank these comedy screams. Wilhelm, Goofy, and Tom Cat." Oh, I think
Easy.
Goofy's at the top.
What's
Absolutely.
Goofy's at the top.
Wilhelm's at the top.
Wait, what is Tom?
No.
What?
Wilhelm.
Wait.
Wilhelm's second.
What is Tomcat?
You ever watch Tom and Jerry? You ever watch Tom and Jerry cartoons?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
the one that's
Tom
like,
has
One.
they're like really loud.
Yeah,
think
I
Tom
can't
has
do
a-
it.
has a very distinct, incredibly loud scream,
Yeah.
which is very effective in the comic timing setting. That would be my second, I think. I think Wilhelm, it's only popular because it's an in-joke with Hollywood filmmakers.
True.
It's not particularly interesting to listen to.
This is
Do you know what? I can agree.
this is kind of a side note. Whenever I think of Goofy now, I think of an image I saw once that was a picture of him from Kingdom Hearts, and it said "face down, ass up. That's the way I like to yuck."
My favorite image.
Whenever I think of that dog, I think of that image now. So there you go.
I mean, Goofy is the only Disney character to have canonically had sex.
Congrats.
Your,
To Goofy,
your
friend
father
of the
does
show.
in fact fuck.
Wait.
That can't be
Yeah.
true.
that kid. Wait, but like because Pistol Pete has to have sex
Goddamn
because
right,
he's
Oh,
got
that's
a
right.
son
He also has a biological
Yeah.
son.
With
Yes.
and,
With
and a
Pete's
daughter
pistol.
of different ages.
So he
he's
had sex
at
twice.
least twice.
Oh, there you go.
Pistol Pete, you dog.
Do we never see like Goofy or like Mickey's parents or Donald's?
I thought you were going to
parents?
say Mickey's penis. I literally thought you were going to say Mickey's
I think-
penis, and I was like, no,
Wait,
we
no,
don't see
These
Mickey's
people
penis.
exist. These people exist, so sex exists
Well,
in this
they-
world.
Well,
They
well,
could
true.
be like from a lab. We don't know. We don't know.
If
their
you go
origins.
into if you go into the original Disney comics, I think they have a whole family tree laid out for Donald Duck. So he does have parents.
Yeah.
And presumably
Donald
so
Duck.
do Huey, Dewey, and Louie, even though everyone we see relating to them in a parental role is their uncle.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Anyway.
that's weird.
Alistair McPherson gives £5 and says, "Wonder what a film version of Silent Hill 4 would look like. Feels a lot more video gamey than the others." Well, I would agree, Alistair. I think of all the video games, Silent Hill 4 is the one that benefits the most from game mechanics in the creating of unnerving horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think it's the most straightforward with what it is and could be adapted really well to a movie.
Man, I think the room stuff would be. You would just keep coming back to that room?
Well, unfortunately, you'd have to call it The Room, and everyone would confuse it for another film called The Room.
It's true. That
No,
is true.
It's called The Apartment.
Yeah.
That's also a movie. Damn it.
I mean, it's confusing because the game is set in the titular room is actually a bunch of rooms. It is a whole apartment
That is true.
with a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom and a bedroom
Yeah. The
Dang, and a
rooms-
laundry room.
and a laundry room. Wow, that was a good apartment.
Yeah. Even the scummiest apartment in media is always nicer than the apartments I've lived in my life. And I'm always like, how does that person have more money than me? Like when they're supposed to be destitute.
Oh,
What's
man.
going on here?
I lived in a 2-room apartment in Brisbane for a while.
Yeah, humbling.
It was cozy. It was like my
By
little bachelor
yourself?
space.
That's a nice way.
I miss it sometimes.
Yeah.
Me and Jess live in a 2-room apartment currently.
But you
It's
you have
cool.
windows.
Yeah, there's a window over there. Check this-
Yeah, I know. I can see. Sun's coming
yeah.
out. That seems nice. You have a
Yeah, window.
ficus.
Yeah, the ficus is there
A
next
dog?
to the window.
Incredible.
The dog's there next to the ficus.
Wow.
Moving on. Blistered Soul gives £1.99. Says, happy birthday to me. Drown Silent Hill in a blood sea.
Happy birthday, mate.
That's The Blood Sea's Iron Lung. That's a different film that came out this year.
There you go.
Get
Did either
yourself
of
a
you,
good cake.
did Jay or Jesse, did either of you guys see Iron Lung?
No, I haven't.
No. I didn't even ask.
I like how you assumed I didn't.
I didn't mean to be
Yeah,
I just
already knew.
No, maybe we'll do when we have another dry spell. We'll go watch that, and then we'll do.
Yeah, that's another film I'd be intrigued to watch.
Yeah,
because I do like the game.
Yeah, maybe when that comes.
I haven't played the game, and I don't know Markiplier, and I don't know how to take any criticism or praise for the movie outside of people's opinion of Markiplier.
I don't. We covered on Rewind, and Darren, Jack, and myself also don't know that much about Markiplier. But the movie's not amazing, but I think it's pretty impressive for what it does as a solo creator, making a writing, directing, producing, starring in a movie, and distributing it himself is pretty impressive.
I'm going to be honest. Every word you just said made me not want to.
Because nothing I said was about the movie.
Nothing you said was about the movie. Everything was about, wow, it's really good because of all these hurdles it has to go over, which is like,
it's not bad. It's
it's
in a different league than this movie, I will say. I enjoyed watching it.
There you go.
Markiplier. Yeah, I did enjoy Iron Lung. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, good to know. That was the main thing I would look for, is just, do you recommend?
Yeah, no, I did enjoy it. A little long, but everything's a little long.
Yeah. Well, it's inevitably going to be longer than the game, I assume.
Yeah, almost by half, or almost double, which is too long.
Yeah. Sinus the Hedgehog is $5. It says, enjoyed your latest design delve, Jamate. And fun fact, life support games is what I call live services, because that's exactly what they're all on. Lol.
Oh, banter. Yeah, thanks. I enjoyed making that one. I played World of Warcraft all evening. Not all evening, all weekend. I think I played 45 hours over the weekend.
I don't think there were 45 hours in the weekend. Where did you find extra? Did you have like little pocket hours? Did you have rollover hours?
Okay, so I'm not joking. I woke, because my friends are English, the people I play with are in England. I woke up at 5:30 on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday so I could play with them. And I played all day, like 12 hours each day. It was prime time nerding out. I loved it.
Bitch, I wake up at 5 a.m. every day. It's the only way to get some me time without the fucking kids around.
Yeah, well, I don't have kids, so I can wake up whenever.
I played 12 hours of Resi 9, and I was like, that's too much video games for one weekend. You can't do 12 hours in a
I've
weekend?
never felt that in my life. I've never felt that, I should go outside.
I feel that all the time. If the sun's out and I'm playing a game for too long, I'm like, I should probably go out there and get some of that vitamin D.
Bruh, I will close the shades. I want to be in the dark, and I don't want to move.
You're a real Morlock.
Yes.
Real chud.
Yes. Well, at the end of the day, I basically stagger up the back garden back into the house because my brain is completely overblown.
Oh, beady-eyed.
Yeah. Min Duel gives $2 and says, why do people do this to stories? I didn't get it. Well, the short answer, Min Duel, is firstly, they want to make oodles of money. And secondly, it's because the amount of money they want to make is so big, a lot of people get brought in to manage all the money. And those people all want to stick their oar in, and that's how it all gets fucked up.
Yeah,
cooks.
It's usually a bad sign when, not always, when the movie begins and there's like 30 production companies I've never heard of. And I'm like, who are all these movies? Which I think is more of a European thing than an American thing. So maybe I'm just being fucking dumb American. But yeah. Also, apparently the budget for this movie was half the budget of Silent Hill 2006. And money is not as...
I can believe it.
Take you as far, so that's not great.
Yes. Do you think it'll make its money back?
It was $25 million, so no, probably not.
I spent $20 on it, so it's on its way.
Yeah,
I did my part.
Multingve, who I think is Fill My Ass Up.
It is.
Member for 26 months in the value tier, says, saw the movie with my sister, who knows nothing about Silent Hill aside from the concept and name alone. She described it like it's keywords on screen.
I like it. It's like a word
cloud.
That's
a good way to put it, actually.
Yeah, nice little word cloud.
Witticism gives $5. Says, didn't see the Silent Hill 2 movie in the 4 days it was in theaters, but did play Resi 9 over the weekend. Pretty good. Best first-person Resi gameplay yet, IMO. That comment makes you wonder if you finished it, Witticism. But we'll get to that when we spoiler cast RE9 in 2 weeks' time, I believe is the plan.
Yes, the plan is 2 weeks from today. By then, we should have a fully Ramblematic out, a design delve out, maybe a little video essay from me out. So You have 2 weeks
Yes.
to finish Resi 9 before we spoil it rotten for you on an episode.
I'm also like the panel I'm on at PAX is on the 27th of March. Is also on Resi 9.
You're having a big
So
old
my
Resi
month
month.
is just like Resi 9 packed.
Yeah. Well, it won't be this week's Fully Emblematic, just so as you know.
Yes.
What's this week's?
This week's will be Crisol.
Oh yeah,
Crisol, the game that sounds like the name of some kind of oil-based product.
Yeah, it sounds like something you put on a rash.
Yeah.
Something you rub on your famunda.
It's actually Spanish for crucible.
Oh,
if you're interested.
My mistake.
Anyway, Fuzzy Freestyle gives $5 says off topic, but I just wrapped up Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. 47 hours, and I even did some of the post-game fuckabouts. Marty, how far have you gotten?
With the caveat that I have not played it in a few weeks because I've been torn in the direction of other games. I think I'm about probably 20 hours, about halfway through. I got Mervin. There's a man named Mervin. And I got Mervin.
Classic Mervin.
Yeah, classic Mervin. He's an old man. He's nice. I like when you get an old man in your RPG party, just an elderly.
I like when Japanese games have characters with Western names, because from the perspective of the Japanese developers, the names are exotic and weird. But from our perspective, they're all really mundane. Like Code Vein 2 did this a lot. There'll be like massively anime dudes whose names are just Lyle or Craig.
In this particular game, you meet a prince, and his name is Kiefer, and then you meet his father, the king, and his name's Donald. And I'm like, you just named these after the Sutherlands?
Yeah,
like clearly named after Donald and Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah. Like, who seems royal to us?
You have 24 hours to do the quest, and the quest is called Cloud Bursting.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Fuzzy Freestyle gives $2 says, why did YouTube add a random number to my name? I don't know. It just does that now.
I don't. Yeah, it's very strange. I don't know. It's not on our end. We cannot fix this. This is go Google or go email Google.
Yeah. I don't know why it happens to some but not others. Like Diane Spencer, for example, has 5653, but the next one doesn't have a random number. Anyways, Diane Spencer gives £5 and says, hi, Yahtzee, have you ever tried Banbury cakes? They're very good. I don't believe I have, Diane Spencer. Perhaps I'll look those up. Perhaps I'll try baking some. I can do that. I'm a baker.
What did you bake this weekend?
He's got the skills.
I home bake all over the place. I baked mini lemon meringue pies.
They look good.
I love a meringue pie. I like a meringue
The cross
pastry.
section was gorgeous.
I like a lemon anything. Lemon loaf. Love a lemon loaf.
Yeah.
Cookie.
Wait, there's no Eric. I'm gonna go get an image and I'm gonna hold up to the camera.
I like layers in my desserts. I've also got a very solid millionaire's shortbread recipe that I've perfected over several iterations.
There you go. It's a lemon loaf.
There you go.
Lemon
There's my lemon pie.
It looks fucking great.
Tasty.
Yeah.
There is a picture of my lemon meringue pie.
Yeah. Incredible.
Anyway. Gay Bear Mountain, member for 27 months in Tipjar.
Hey,
and then Zaratha gives $5 and says, giant spider, wicked wild hills. James Sunderland is James West Desperado.
Underrated movie.
Great. It was a great donation.
The spider appears. Why does the spider appear for like 30 seconds? That is just.
I don't know.
Then Pyramid Head beats the shit out of it, and then it's gone.
I mean, what's the imagery? I mean, like two mannequin bottoms on top of each other. That's imagery that makes sense. But where's the spider coming from?
But like you said, there's like one or two shots where it's like, oh, that's got a real caked up ass.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel.
Okay, I'm gonna be real. I did not at any point notice the caked up ass.
You didn't?
Oh, I literally, I didn't know. In theaters, I didn't notice it too much. On VOD over the weekend, let me tell you.
I was too busy reeling over the fact that it existed. I was like, why would you do this over the mannequin? Just legs.
I do want to ask, because maybe this was me. So the mannequin spider, its head falls off, and then it does the spider thing and start walking around, and it has boobies as well, and they start moving, and I thought those were going to be eye stalks, and it was going to look at James through them, and then that didn't happen, and I was just curious if anybody else saw that.
That's a missed opportunity right there.
All right, yeah. I thought it was like, wow, what an interesting design. No, then its head just goes back on.
Yeah. Asia 246222 gives $20 and says, it's absolutely infuriating that a movie based on Silent Hill 2, a game all about women's pain, didn't think for even 2 seconds about Mary's thoughts or desires. Oh no, my luggage got squished. Guess I'll just go back. Bullshit.
Yep.
Well,
yep.
Based on a few things we've heard about the director today. Well,
There's lots of things that.
I mean, is the game all about women's pain? I think it's more about pain and guilt generally.
But I mean, it shows us so many. It
perspectives.
Shows that through so many female perspectives from Mary.
Yes.
Maria.
You're looking at many female perspectives through the male lens, which is what makes it interesting and allows you to ask questions of the things you're looking at.
But they're all there to revolve around James. I mean, even Angela and Eddie, their status sort of acts as a reflection of James. Like Angela reflects violence against women, and Eddie just reflects James's status as a murderer.
Well, I think that's part of what makes the game's characters really well done, is that they are not just a reflection. Angela's story is her own story. Like, it also has that mirror to it, but like also Laura's story is hers. Kind of what Jimate was saying of like different types of pain, like Laura losing Mary, someone that she was connecting with in a hospital when she was dying or in some sort of terrible trauma.
You know, I've said before, subtext doesn't really count if there isn't anything on top of the subtext. Then it's just text.
Yeah.
Like the subtext of Angela is that she represents violence against women. And in the film, they just she literally just represents the phase of Mary's life when she suffered from violence.
Yeah.
It's literally pulled into the text.
It's like saying I made a 7-layer cake and it's got 1 layer, and it's like, well, you didn't.
Yeah,
that's just a regular cake.
But I scraped the same frosting on it 7 times, so it's a 7-layer cake.
Yeah. I think it's a problem with a lot of arty indie games. They have like the metaphorical definition, but they don't actually have a surface meaning on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like Moby Dick, it's a metaphor for man versus chaos, but on the surface, it's a story about an angry bloke who hates a whale. And a lot of indie games, it's just all metaphor with no surface. That's what I complain about.
You need the surface to allow you to intellectually ask the question, like, what does this mean? Yeah. Like, what does this represent? If you don't have that, then it's just like, oh, thanks for the metaphor, Alt F4.
I want a whole series now where Yahtzee just gives us descriptions of famous stories, but in the incredibly quick, like an angry man of the whale, like the world ends and now I need to become a mailman. It's just, that's Death Stranding.
Christmas Carol. Yeah. Give us Christmas Carol.
It's also Kevin Costner's The Postman.
Lazy Kojima watches one postman. It's suddenly like, I will make this.
There you go. Anyway, DMB Lan gives $5. Says, the best description I've heard for this movie is all the unimportant stuff was adapted faithfully and all the important stuff was changed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty apt. That's pretty well put.
Agreed.
Yep.
And then DMB Lan comes back with another $5 and says, it really feels like they spent more time trying to adapt the bad Silent Hill comics and not the game Silent Hill 2.
Have you guys ever read the comics? I've never read any of the Silent Hill stuff.
Yeah.
No, never read them. Doubt I ever will.
Never ever.
Did they also do like a PSP visual novel or something? Not a visual novel, but like an animated comic kind of thing?
I think didn't they remake the first game as like a visual novel for like handhelds in Japan?
I think so.
Yeah, it was like mobile or Game Boy Color or something.
Yeah, and I don't know if it ever got translated or anything. Yeah.
Anyway, Mark Mayner gives €10 and says, thank you for your sacrifice. I think I will get drunk with friends to watch it and hope it will be fun that way. Preferably without paying for it. Don't want to waste money.
Do you think, could you recommend this as a fun movie night where everyone
get your
goes
friends around? No. If you've got friends and they're all fans of Silent Hill 2 and you're all drunk, maybe.
Yeah, if you're just going to sit down to watch it with friends who don't know anything about Silent Hill 2, they're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
And you trying to explain why things are bad is not going to make any sense to them.
I think so. Yeah. I think the only way you can have a good time taking the piss out of it is if you understand the source material. Otherwise, just kind of like a mess.
But even at that, there's better bad movies to watch.
Sure.
Like, it's not entertaining enough as a bad movie to recommend it to have fun with.
Yeah. I mean, there's some good imagery, if you like that sort of thing.
Yeah, but then there's the rest of the movie.
Well, fair enough.
There's one point where the camera's like 30 feet above him, like looking straight down on him, and turns a corner with him. And part of me was like, do you think they did that on purpose to evoke that terrible PSP dungeon crawler or the Vita dungeon crawler?
Silent Hill. Oh, what was
Book
that
of Memories.
called?
Book of Memories.
Thank you.
I almost said Shattered Memories, and no, that one's actually pretty good.
No, I was doing exactly the same thing, but then I remembered Shattered Memories was the Wii one.
Yeah.
Yes, Tsunami Douche gives $20 and says nothing in his
Nothing.
cool,
Douche,
aloof
douche,
way.
douche.
Nice.
We love you, Tsunami
And
Dusha.
And then Eitova Ribari gives 1,000 arses. And to say, now that you've proven the movie everybody expected to suck effectively sucks, continue torturing Yahtzee with Prince of Persia. They dragged Ben Kingsley into that one. Wing Commander, Doom with The Rock, and Max Payne with Marky Mark. Make it a whole miniseries. I have seen Doom with The Rock. That's pretty awful. I haven't seen Wing Commander. I haven't seen Prince of Persia, but of all the video game movies, that would probably hurt as much as Silent Hill 2 because I like Prince of Persia Sands of Time so much.
I think we're both huge Prince of Persia nuts, and I have seen that movie, and it does suck.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Because I was excited for it when it came out, and it is really bad.
Very bad. Wing Commander, not as bad as you'd expect. That's probably a better have fun with it movie. It's got Matthew
Wing Commander.
Lillard in it, so.
Yeah.
I mean, Wing Commander had a foot in movies anyway because they had didn't they make like a CG game with lots of
all of the Wing Commander games have like live action segments of actors.
Yeah,
FMVs, yeah.
I believe the Wing
Commander
movie
director who made those games, he did the movie.
I was about to say Chris Roberts did actually direct the movie, which is we're apparently now getting the director of Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 said he's not directing the more games and he's going to direct the movie.
And then Chris Roberts went and founded Star Citizen and was never heard from again.
Yeah, he's better at releasing movies than he is games, apparently. But
what a slight. Did you ever play the original Wing Commander games?
No, I never did.
Outside of I wasn't really into PC gaming until a little bit later.
Mark Hamill's in one of them?
Yeah,
is that right?
Radar.
I remember playing the very first one on get this, on the Amiga CD32.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Is it good? Do you have fond memories of those games?
I very clearly remember the cutscenes. It was very cinematic for games of the time. Like there was a whole like funeral sequence, and I remember like being brought to tears, for I was but a small child at the time.
What is the gameplay just like dogfighting, or is it like kind of
pretty much
space dogfighting?
Yeah, it just sort of like speeds you to the next dogfight, and then you shoot some alien ships, and then proceed.
Gotcha.
Boom.
There's not really like a space explorer thing, like an Elite.
Yeah.
Anyway, Eitova Ribari gives 2,000 arses. Oh, well, they're following up from there. Yeah, they did 2 in a row.
3,000 arses.
Whoa.
Out of subject, great to see Jesse here, taking advantage of his D&D expertise. I've been running a D&D 5e campaign, and this weekend my players will have to face a kind of important boss hyped on several sessions, avatar of a deep aquatic god. Any advice on interesting mechanics?
Ooh. Are you underwater? Use 3D space.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Like XCOM Terror from the Deep. Or not.
Yeah, so like depth, how you can kind of move around 3D spaces if they're flying, that would be really cool. Can you ask me again on Thursday on RPG Help Desk? I'll have more time to talk about it.
That's a good place for it.
How would you feel if they
Also,
introduced a
breathing
ball
mechanic.
to it and it turned out it was just a game of Blitzball from Final Fantasy X? How would you feel about that?
Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
And they have gills.
What a concept.
Oh, God.
Kills.
Or don't, and then breathing becomes an issue.
Oh.
Hesse James gives €10, says, finally catching this live for once. I'm late, but I guess Yahtzee really loved the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Have you watched
Yes.
any other movies this year? Like, is this the best movie you watched in 2026 so far? Have you sat down and watched a full film, not like walked in while your kids were watching a movie or something, but like start to finish, have you watched another movie?
I think you already know the answer to that question, Marty.
Oh, no. You didn't watch like K-pop Demon Hunters or anything?
No, I've only ever heard songs from it because
Really good movie, though.
Your kids like
Like
it.
the
yeah.
last, I mean, I haven't even like walked in on my kids watching movies lately. I think I did once, and they were watching Bambi, which they've watched like 50 times now.
Did they get sad at the beginning?
Weirdly, no.
They cheer.
If I were you and your wife, I'd be worried about that.
Well, they watched it a bunch of times when they were very young, and I guess for some reason they're nostalgic for it.
Sure. They won't cry at your funeral.
But they no. I mean, my eldest usually really sensitive about these things. Like she won't even watch anything with like a clear villain in it because she gets scared. But Bambi's mum gets shot. She's just fine.
Yeah, just deal with it. It's just a deer. It's fine.
Spoiler warning. Sorry. Fill my ass up rather. So gives 15 Norwegian kroner and says, had some scenes been tweaked a bit, it would have made a good comedy. Well, I did laugh out loud at the James painting a pyramid over his face on a painting scene. Oh,
Fuck
we're
your
not
subtext.
being. Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't pick up on that. Thanks for being clear. And I like how the moment he did it, he just sort of fell over drunk and rolled around on the floor, being sad.
I like when movies try to portray what making art is like. When it's just it reminded me of like in Batman '89 when Jack Nicholson's going around the museum and just throwing paint on the walls and being like, I guess this is art.
Do you ever see the film Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
There's like a novelist character in that, and speaking as a novelist, the portrayal of that character really made me roll my eyes.
Yep. It's like any movie that tries to show how video games are made, anything with the video game industry, you're like, this is not.
Or like any profession, if I see a depiction of like magic in movies like magicians, it makes me roll my eyes.
Except in the Now You See Me trilogy.
Yeah.
I fucking hate those movies.
Do you really?
So much. Yeah. It was Leo Vader's got a great video, which is like, are the magicians in Now You See Me actual wizards?
Yeah.
Because like they're doing actual magic, but pretending it's all like sleight of hand and shit. It's so weird.
I love Leo.
Just as someone who uses computers a lot, have you ever like been paid attention to someone using a computer in a movie and been bothered by how they never use the mouse?
Mm-hmm.
They're always just typing,
and only ever type.
Yeah, they just know the hotkeys for how to open all the tabs and apps they want.
Easy. They're using
they're
eye
touch
tracking.
typing. They're not pressing two keys at once. They're touch typing, very obviously.
They made some new custom shortcuts that are only one key.
It's like watching people on the helm of the Starship Enterprise, just pressing random buttons to make the ship fly. Anyway. Boo-Ray gives $2 and says, one postman, Saitama, delivering mail.
That's a good goof. That's a One Punch Man goof combined with
One
Punch Man goof.
It's a reference to One Punch Man, who's like anime. I have actually gone out of my way to watch because I enjoyed the manga so much.
I've never actually watched the anime. I know it's about a bald boy.
It's about, here's the premise. It's about a nondescript, bald, gormless twat who, for reasons never explained, is the most powerful being in the universe.
Doesn't he have like a workout where he does like 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and he runs a mile, and that makes him real buff?
Yeah, he kept up that workout for a year, and that made him the most powerful being in the universe.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So funny. You've seen it.
Ludo looks like real shaggy today, like a real pup, like a fluffy dog.
Aww.
When
Jess
did
has
you
been
last
calling her a
groom
Muppet.
that dog?
Yeah, she needs a haircut.
Does look like a Muppet. Absolutely looks like a Muppet.
Oh, wow.
See, this is the advantage of the short-haired dog. You also don't smell as bad.
Oh, Ludo smells great.
Oh my god, a
Even
hand
when
appeared
wet.
out of frame. Terrifying.
Okay,
No
yeah,
dog
well, maybe
smells
not
good
when
wet.
but she
Yeah.
gets baths. She just needs a haircut. She needs a nice haircut, don't you, pup?
She looks great. You're great, Ludo. Don't let anyone say anything bad about you.
Yeah.
Bite them if they do.
You're great too, Toffee.
You're great too, Toffee. I mean, you're asleep, so you can't hear us, but you're great.
Well, his ears pricked up when I said his name. Toffee.
He knows food time's coming soon.
Toffee. 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 Toffee.
Toffee's like, I was sleeping,
Look at
you
Toffee.
son of a bitch.
Look over there.
Why
Ludo's
did you wake
coffee.
me up?
Look
Took
over
a
there.
few goes, didn't it? Okay,
I like
go
the
to
idea
sleep
that this is an audio podcast sometimes people listen to. Like, I wonder if those people who've never watched the streams have images of what they think the dogs look like. It's like when you listen to a podcast,
Yeah.
you think you know what the hosts look like, and then you see them, and you're like, that's not what I thought. I wonder if people think they know what the dogs look like.
All right. Well, for those people, Toffee is a 6 foot long
Mastiff.
Irish wolfhound.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's
Short hair.
currently draped. He's currently draped across my shoulders like a sort of fox stole.
And Ludo's one of those dogs
Ludo
that has
is-
the
yeah.
booze around their neck that they like delivered to people on
Yeah, yeah.
mountains.
Bernard.
No, she's a Pomeranian in a diaper with a shaved head.
Oh, so she's a Pomeranian like the fire Pokemon? Pompon? What do
Yeah.
you think of Pompon?
Uh-huh.
Jay, do you have thoughts
Oh,
on
God.
Pompon?
I need to
Really?
develop thoughts. I'm going to have a 20-minute design delve on it.
Okay. They've announced the starters for the next generation in Pokemon, and one of them is a fire dog. That's a Pomeranian.
Maybe because I
named
haven't
Pombon.
seen them, so I need to.
That is
You
also
should look.
that's a good first
It's
step.
a Pomeranian.
It's very cute.
It is very cute.
Asia comes back with $5 and says, character limit got me. Hard to talk about all the layers in such a small space. XD. Either way, baggage squish doesn't tell us jack about James either. I know. Where did he come from? Where was he going?
Yeah.
Well, they told us he was a bad driver.
He was a very bad driver.
And reckless.
Yeah,
Yes,
incredibly reckless.
And he liked to get spliffed up.
Yeah. He also he wore a lot of necklaces. He had multiple necklaces on throughout the movie.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Big necklace
funny
guy.
that. And
Which
he
is
wore a
they
leather
represent
jacket
guilt.
instead of a green army jacket.
They represent guilt. The guilt
As
we
someone
wear
that-
around our necks.
That is
There
the
you
thing
go.
that gets me. As a human that does wear a lot of necklaces, I will often see a lot of necklaces in movies and be like, that's not how it works. Like, you're doing it wrong.
Is there a correlation between how many necklaces you currently have on and how like guilty you feel
Yeah.
throughout the day?
Wow,
'Cause
Mr.
it weighs
T
you
must feel
down.
very, very guilty.
Mr.
Oh,
about
no.
T
things.
is
Oh,
way
wow.
down.
Mr. T and Flava Flav.
Flavor Flav. Oh my god, he has the entire guilt of time and space on him.
Mr. T feels guilty about ruining the Rocky franchise. Possibly.
Oh, done him.
Oh no. Witticism comes back with $2 and says, I did finish Resi 9. Leon's half is there.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
please.
No
No
spoilers.
spoilers. It's not a spoiler because Leon's app is there. Also, Grace's app is there. Think about that.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Those
all
apps are there.
Dang.
It's all there. Fist Up Inner gives $2 and says, I missed most of this live, but here is my
Does that mean they liked it?
You know, I'm sort of over people ruining Silent Hill. I've talked about this before. I mean, they've ruined Silent Hill 2 in so many interesting ways over the years. I'm sort of past it.
Are you like numb
I've
to it? now?
moved on.
You expect
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think Alan Moore has a quote when someone mentioned the movies ruining his books, and he said, and he just looks at his shelf and goes, "They don't look ruined to me. They're right
Ah.
there."
Ah,
That's the
it.
attitude I tend to take these
it
days.
is. As
Yeah,
long as
that's how
it's
I feel
still
too.
relatively easy to play the original version, which that's when I start getting a little.
About
Honestly, if people only played the remake and liked it, then I'm happy with that. Just
Would you?
it's still better than the movie.
Do you prefer the remake or the PS3 era remasters with like Troy Baker and Laura Bailey, like the new cast in Comic Sans?
Oh, that's a tricky one.
yeah.
I think the remake's fine, but what I like about it is just the stuff they basically copied directly from the original.
Yeah.
In terms of like story, imagery, and all of that.
Yep.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
You don't have to choose.
Can I just say just play the original?
You
Just
can
like
absolutely say
steal a
that.
PS2 from someone from a poverty-stricken nation.
You can absolutely
and
do
play
that.
it
Probably
on
don't do
there.
that. I mean, just don't do that part.
It's pretty much the only place you're going to find people who still
Yeah.
play on PS2 these days.
Yeah. Great console.
Anyway, maybe they could nick a few from the Middle East while they're there.
There you go. That's what this whole thing's about: is stealing Iran's PS2s. I don't want to talk about this. I'm just gonna
PS2s.
get sad.
Boy, I came
Yeah,
back at
you
a
left
weird
for a
time.
weird 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I have a very clear core memory of having to pass through Dubai Airport as like a transition to another flight, and pausing for a moment in the like the duty-free shop and noticing they were still selling music on cassettes.
Like in what
Wow.
year?
Interesting.
This was in like 2003,
Wow.
Way
like,
past
long
the
after.
cassette era.
Yeah.
way past the cassette era, long after CDs were a thing. And
I
just
forgot
felt-
you lived
really
in Australia
emphasized-
because I was going to be like, why were you going through Dubai? And
yeah, it really emphasized the weird nouveau riche quality of Dubai. In that, on the one hand, they've got this fabulously wealthy airport that looks like a palace, and on the other, they're still buying music on cassette tapes in the duty-free shop.
Yep.
Such a contrast.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gay Bear Mountain gives $10. Says, "I'll never watch the movie, but I just want to state my appreciation for all of you gorgeous hosts."
Thanks, GBM.
Hey, I don't
Thank
swing that
you.
way, Gay Bear Mountain, but I respect your lifestyle.
As a mountain.
You tell him, yes.
Anyway, Otters in Tuxedos gives $9.99, like all of them collectively, and says, "What are each of your favorite games from the 3DS?" I'd probably say Castlevania: Dawn of Sorrow, but not because of the 3DS gimmicks, just because it was only on the 3DS.
Well, that was on DS, right?
Oh shit!
Not to
Yeah,
be
you're
I mean,
right.
you could play it on
does it
3DS.
specifically have to be the free DS?
I think we can open it up to DS,
Just DS game.
the dual screen
okay.
family of consoles.
Pokemon Rangers.
God, I need to play that.
Fucking spin around those
people
fuckers.
have recommended to me. I love Link Between Worlds, and I wish they ported it to something else. That's the 3DS sequel to A Link to the Past.
I'm probably going to play that fucking Pokopia game.
Highest reviewed Pokemon game ever.
Well, that's
the
I'm
highest
assuming that's
Metacritic
Japanese
of any.
reviews.
No,
Because the
No,
I
like
see
the US
the-
market.
Pokemon stuff coming out. What is this?
the Pokemon kind of like cozy. It's like Pokemon meets Minecraft meets Stardew Valley meets Dragon Quest Builders. That comes out on Friday.
Oh, the
yeah.
Ditto one.
The Ditto one, where you play as
yeah.
a Ditto who finds like a
Yeah.
dead girl and assumes her
When's
identity.
it out?
Friday.
yeah, Friday.
This
So much
Friday.
good stuff's coming out. What's happening?
You're too busy
I
in
know.
your World of Warcraft to know what's going on in the world of Pokecraft.
And
you haven't
Resi,
even looked
and-
at the starters. You fucking. You don't
Hey,
care
I'm
about
max
starters 'cause
level.
you just want to know what the EVs are going to look like.
Yes,
Your
I don't
EV
care.
party.
It's funny.
Anyway, Resident Unique is $5 and says, "Have any of you seen the Monster Hunter movie? Got pissed drunk with friends while roasting the movie. Honestly, I think that made it worse. I entirely forgot that there was a Monster Hunter
Yeah.
movie.
Oh my
Resident
god.
That
Unique.
is by.
I have the exact same situation with that Monster Hunter movie. It is like, I think objectively a terrible film. Like, it's terribly written. But as a huge fan of the Monster Hunter franchise, there are parts in it when they engage in combat and the moves they use, like with the weapons, are 1-for-1 recreations of the moveset from in-game. For each weapon, and it would make me fucking like shout with joy. I'd just be like, yes! Like they do the dual blade like flourish. It was amazing, but then the plot comes back and it's just wank. It's like an isekai. It's really weird. Like a military woman gets isekai'd into the Monster Hunter world, and then it's really, really terrible.
By Paul W.S.
Oh, dear.
Anderson, who did all those Resident Evil movies as well.
So sure
we
did.
watched that.
They-
That was one of the
so
first
they-
movies we watched in our Phoenix movie nights. I think like 2 years
Yeah,
ago.
and I
or
missed
so.
that one. I
Yeah.
was upset.
Wasn't the Minecraft movie an isekai as well?
Yes.
I guess it is.
Yeah, Jack Black gets isekai.
Yeah.
Yeah. And weirdly enough,
I
the real world stuff is more entertaining than the Minecraft world stuff, which isn't great for an isekai. It's not how
I like how
it is.
isekai is very firmly a verb now.
Yeah.
As in, to isekai, we have isekai'd, we are isekaiing.
Okay,
I
I saw
understand what you're
isekai.
saying.
Anyway, Fist Up and it gives $2. There's Monty Python and the Holy Grail reference, character limit. Okay, thank you.
You're done by the character limit.
And then Beneath 111111 gives 50 Swedish kroner and says, "What horror video game getting movie adapted would you guys want to be a character in?" Jeez, what a question!
Like a
What question to
like
throw out at
act
the
in
end of
it,
the
or
podcast.
like
Yeah.
we are stuck in
Yeah.
a horror scenario.
I think
think-
acting. I think.
I'd like to do a voice in the
I-
Luigi's
Okay.
Mansion movie. I could do Luigi,
Yeah.
You'd be
Mario,
so
Mario.
good.
which someone
Oh, that's
pointed
pretty
out that no spoilers, but Grace often sounds like Luigi when she's scared.
She does. I have that as a note. I have her voice lines as a note because of that.
Which I like. I'm gonna be honest. I really like the performance. But I also like Luigi.
Well,
so.
I was writing up my review today, and my line was that I don't think she gets a single line of dialogue where she doesn't pronounce the first consonant 3 times.
That's because
at
she's
least.
nervous. She's seen some
Whoa, whoa,
shit.
whoa, whoa.
She's not a Leon
The-
Kennedy. She's not here to spoof and goof.
I liked the contrast between her and Leon delivering very bad action movie one-liners
Yeah.
after every scene.
That's great.
I'd want to be in a Resident Evil movie, and I'd want to be the first introductory zombie,
The
like
one who,
the
turns your
classic
shoulder.
first person turn the shoulder look. Yeah, I want to be that.
That's pretty good.
I'd want to be in a Resident Evil movie, but I want to be the dude who pilots the helicopter at the end. Not the one at the start or the middle, importantly. The one who pilots the helicopter at the end.
Smart move.
I want to be the bobblehead raccoon toy that you have to kill in every room when you hear it.
Stop, yeah.
I want to be in the either. Oh, thank you. I want to be either in the Fatal Frame movie, even though there's already been one, but the new one, or a Parasite Eve movie, which also there's already been one.
What would you be in them?
I would be someone who dies because I don't think
You'd
I'm
be
that
the
great at
camera.
acting. I would be the camera. I'm the camera
Yeah.
obscura.
Whose head
Yo,
would
take
be?
me- take
whose
the
head would
pictures of the
be
ghosts.
The best head to be in Silent Hill 4 when you go in that room and there's the large head.
Oh, just the
Oh,
big.
What if you just go in that room and it's just Yahtzee's head on the side?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh,
Do that.
Sir John
Should I do the
Arbuckle.
face?
Oh my god, it's uncanny.
It's uncanny. Oh, Fatal or Dino Crisis. Yeah, you got to be in Dino
Yeah,
Crisis.
I would also like to be
Get torn
ripped
apart by a
a
dino, that'd be
dinosaur
fun.
in Dinosaur Crisis. Yeah, that'd be amazing. Sounds
Well,
great.
that's just Jurassic. That's just Jurassic Park.
That is
isn't
just
it?
that might just be
It's
Jurassic
totally
Park.
different.
But this is
No,
this
there's way
is
more
about
guns.
Dino Crisis. Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's no
Right.
crisis in those
I mean,
movies.
yeah, everything's
Just
going
theme
great.
park.
It's a park.
I mean,
It's a good time.
Dino Crisis does feel like the slightly on the nose foreign translation title for Jurassic Park in another country.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Just like
Right, well, that
quiet
was-
mound.
Yeah.
Well, that was the end of the super chats. I think we've made our point clear enough there. If you've got different thoughts on on Return to Silent Hill or any of the Silent Hill movies, do feel free to drop them in the comments, which we all read and all appreciate.
And when you
But
say
if you
mean
don't feel
things,
like
it hurts
do-
all of us.
But if you don't feel like doing that, why not just drop a like? It takes a second, you greedy bastard. Why are you so stingy with your likes these days?
God damn it, guys.
Or possibly even subscribe if you liked it that much. Or possibly even go to patreon.com/secondwind group and sign up to support the channel if you really liked it.
Incredible. And which you get exclusive monthly exclusive videos on, including very soon a video from Jesse Galena.
Oh, that's very true.
That's you.
That's gonna be our Patreon.
And don't forget that we've got content all week here on Second Wind, including my fully Ramblematic review this week, which will be on the subject of Chrysol, which is an interesting AA horror game you might have missed, which might be worth checking out if you are a Resident Evil 4 fan. I've also got my weekly stream, Yahtzee Tries, which I play indie games. Haven't decided what yet, but we'll figure that out. There's a lot of indie games dropping this week, actually.
Yeah.
So we'll see where we are with that. And there'll also be the Yahtzee Tries compilation video on Sunday. And this isn't a Second Wind thing, but I want you guys to be the first to know the print and ebook version of my third Jack McKeown novel will leave the galaxy for good. It's coming out, and it's coming out tomorrow.
Get out of town.
Oh, sick.
You
Yep,
heard it
it's
here
coming
first.
out tomorrow. Right when after I've had lunch, I'm going to post the Amazon link on Blue Sky, and you can all go off and pre-order that right now.
Amazing.
It took a while. It took 2.5 fucking years, but we got there in the end. Now there's a print and ebook version as well as an audio version, book version.
Yeah,
Amazing.
That's awesome.
Congrats, dude.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
well done.
Yes, just need to push it for the next few months of videos.
Hell yeah. Put it in some
So
fucking. Put it in some fully Ramblematic. Drop that shit.
I
You
will.
should review
Well,
it.
That's my
Fully
content.
Ramblematic, your own book.
I will not be doing that. Plug some other stuff. Jesus Christ.
Jay,
shit.
you
Oh,
had a new
I'm-
video go up this morning, right? Oh, sorry.
I did, yeah. I had a video on the state of MMOs and whether the genre might be dying. So you can go watch that. And while you're watching it, you can think about of all the horrific time I wasted this weekend on playing WoW. Other than that, we've got Dev Heads coming out on Friday. Topic to be decided. Usually the news in the industry is coming in hot and fast, and it's usually horrible. So expect us to be talking about something that happened this week.
Usually bleak.
Yeah, usually bad.
Yeah.
And my next episode of Design Delve will all be on Resident Evil 9. So lots of thoughts on that to be coming. And that's me.
Heck yeah. Jesse.
The video that's going on to our Patreon, you can check that out. And then also myself and several other people have played a whole bunch of demos over Steam Next Fest that was last week. And we will have a video out with a whole bunch of recommendations of really cool stuff that you should take a look at.
Yep. That should also be up this week. The two of us, Jess, Casey, and Jenna all contributed to that one. And then, of course, you'll be on Hot Money Energy later tonight. The full crew will be there at the normal time playing Hurdling, a game from last year that I enjoyed quite a bit.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It's a
Oh,
little...
and then also,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and also RPG Help Desk at 4:30 Eastern on Thursday.
Heck yeah.
But yeah,
Hell
you
yeah.
played Hurdling?
Yeah, I played through the entire thing. Yeah, it's a little bit like Journey, but you got to take care of these cute little fuzzy cows. And let me tell you, do not let those cute fuzzy cows get hurt, because
Marty, I can't stop her. She's gonna do what she does. Just bystander at this point.
And then we should have normal streams, normal pods, everything, all that jazz throughout the week. So tune in for that. Oh, and one last super chat.
Well, one last super chat, and it's a big one. Gay Bear Mountain gave us $50.
Thank you, bud.
Thanks, Gay Bear Mountain. Be more like Gay Bear Mountain, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Who says just got paid? So here's something for my resident Findom. Open brackets Yahtzee, close brackets.
Is you. Shout to Findom.
Resident Evil Findom.
People do appreciate
It's Resi
Findom.
10.
Yeah. How are they going to fit the X somewhere in there? Because they got to get the Roman numeral somewhere in there.
Oh, maybe triple X.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be REX, so it'll be about zombie dinosaurs.
Or it's a word that's going to have an I and an O.
That needs to be
that
a
they
thing.
can make. How like Village was VILL, and they turned it into an H.
Or Umbrella comes back as Big Pharma, and so it's like RX, like prescription.
Oh,
no.
I hate all of this.
Write this
It's all
down.
probably true.
Make a movie.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll just call it RE Extreme with the first E of extreme knocked off like they used to do.
The 90s
Yeah,
is coming back.
it'll be a fisheye lens.
Tony Hawk is an unlockable character like Hunk and Tofu.
Yeah.
Incredible.
All right. That's it from us then. Thanks for listening.
Yep.
See you all on Wednesday. Bye.